Today's video is all about easy Thanksgiving sides that you have to try. They are all easy, simple, but delicious, and your family will go crazy for them. Hey y'all, I'm Sammy and welcome to my kitchen. Today it's all about Thanksgiving sides, but they're all easy and delicious. Your family is going to absolutely enjoy them and definitely go back for seconds. So sit back and relax, grab you some sweet tea, and let me do all the cooking. Come on, y'all, let's go. So we're going to start this one off with a cranberry apple crisp, and this one is absolutely perfect to make for your Thanksgiving. So I started out with 4 large peeled and sliced Honeycrisp apples. You could use any kind of apple that you prefer. These are just our favorites. I went ahead and sliced them probably just about maybe 1/4 of an inch thick. That way they still had some bite left to them once you baked them. Now we're going to add in 1 cup of washed fresh cranberries. To that we're going to add in 1/2 cup of sugar. Next we're going to add in about 2 teaspoons of cinnamon and 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. Then you'll give all of that a nice toss together just to make sure all that sugar and cinnamon and nutmeg go all over the apples and the cranberries. And the smell of this is absolutely amazing. Now we're going to set those aside and go ahead and make our crisp topping. So I've got 1/2 cup of oatmeal, 1/2 cup of flour, all purpose, and then 1/2 cup of packed light brown sugar and 1/2 stick of butter or 4 tablespoons. You just make this into a crumble. So all I did was take a fork and go all the way through this, making sure that all of that butter was cut into that flour and brown sugar. Then I chopped up, or actually I just pounded these in a little baggie, but those were just about 1/2 cup of pecans or walnuts, whatever you prefer. I used walnuts. We'll take a 9x13 sprayed dish, go ahead and dump your apples right on in there, and then pour that crumbled topping right over the top of it. Now I just kind of smoothed it on out just to make sure all of that oatmeal topping got all over the apples. Now this goes into a 350-degree oven for about 35 to 40 minutes until everything is nice and golden brown and your apples are nice and tender. The smell on this was so amazing, y'all. I probably could have ate this whole pan by myself. And I just put some whipped cream right on the side, and this one was amazing. And of course, some powdered sugar too. Can't hurt, right? Now let's make a hash brown casserole. This is definitely a family favorite. So I just started out with 1 bag of the already shredded hash browns. You could shred your own. We're going to add in 1/2 stick of butter that's melted. Then you're going to season it to taste. I used about 1 teaspoon of nature seasoning, 1 teaspoon of Badia Complete, and then we're going to add in 1 packet of the dry ranch mix to that. Next, we'll go ahead and give everything a good stir together just to make sure it's all nice and combined. That way all them taters get covered in all of them seasonings. We'll add in 1 can of cream of chicken soup. You could use cream of onion soup, cream of celery soup, whatever you prefer. I had cream of chicken on hand and that's what I used. Then we added in 1 8-ounce container of sour cream. And I love me some black pepper, so I'll probably put about 1 to 2 teaspoons of black pepper in this, along with 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese right into the top. I did reserve the other 1/2 cup to 1 cup to put right over the top of this casserole before we bake it. Now into a greased 9x13 pan, you'll just pour that mixture right in there, and I just like to smooth the top of mine out just to make it look nice and pretty. Plus, you eat with your eyes first, right? Now we'll take the remaining of that cheese, and I always say, mo cheese, mo better. Just like mo butter, mo better. Or butter makes it better. So that goes into a 350-degree oven for about 25 to 35 minutes, just until everything is nice and cooked through and that top is golden brown and delicious. I served mine up with just some fresh chopped parsley, and y'all, this was absolutely amazing and so cheesy. You've got to try it. Next up is definitely a family favorite, which are smothered green beans. Into a large skillet, I've got 2 tablespoons of butter in here, and we're going to add in about 2 to 3 ounces of bacon. So it'd probably be about 1/8 of a cup if I had to estimate. We'll go ahead and brown that on up just to where that bacon heats up and kind of releases some of the flavor into that butter, as you can see right here. Now we're going to add in some minced garlic, about 2 teaspoons full, but y'all know me, I added in a tablespoon because I love me some garlic. Once that cooks for about 5 minutes, we will add in 1/4 cup of brown sugar that's been packed and 1/8 of a cup of soy sauce. Now I just went ahead and mixed all of this together just until that brown sugar had melted through. You do want to give it a taste in case you want to add a little bit of more soy sauce. I think I added another teaspoon before adding in 2 cans of drained green beans right into that mix. They're just the standard size cans, and that makes the perfect amount. But trust me, if you're making these for Thanksgiving, you'll want to double this. But all the recipes will be linked down below. Now we just let that simmer in there until all of that soy sauce and brown sugar mixture cooks up. And would you look at how delicious the beans look? You could always throw in some onions in there and let that cook too, or just throw in onion powder. Either way is fine. Now let's make some creamy mashed potatoes Sammy's way. I started out by boiling a full bag of the mini yellow potatoes in some salted water and a little bit of this seasoned vegetable base by Better Than Bouillon. I just put about a teaspoon in there. I gave that a good old mix around. Turn that on medium heat and let those boil until they are nice and tender, as you can see right here. I went ahead and drained those. Then we're going to add in a 1/2 stick of butter and a 1/2 block of cream cheese. So 4 ounces of cream cheese and 4 tablespoons of butter for this size bag. If you're making a big, huge bag, like a 5-pound bag, it's a whole stick of butter and a whole block of cream cheese. Now we like our taters rustic, so I just do my hand mixer and mix that on up. Once I get it to that consistency that I like, I take about a 1/2 cup to 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, and that just makes it so nice and creamy. And you'll definitely want to taste these before you add any other salt, but add some pepper, definitely. And then I just topped it with some fresh chopped parsley right over the top. So good, y'all. Now this one is definitely a favorite, Crockpot Mac and Cheese. You can't go wrong with mac and cheese, and especially when it's in a crock pot. So into a 7-quart sprayed crock pot with nonstick spray, I cooked up 16 ounces of elbow macaroni. Then I put a 1/2 stick of butter, just cubed up. Then I seasoned it with a little bit of salt and some pepper, probably to taste, but about a 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon each. 1 entire can of evaporated milk goes in, and then a cornstarch slurry as well, which is equal parts of cornstarch and water. Then 1 cup of milk goes into that, and then we're going to take, I think it was 4 ounces of Velveeta cheese, and then 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese. Now I used a New York and a cheddar, I believe. We give this a good old stir together just to make sure everything is well incorporated. Once you have it all mixed up, we'll pop that lid on it, cook that on low for about 1 to 2 hours. You will want to come back in and stir it every once in a while just to make sure nothing is sticking to the sides and not burning. Once you're at the last 30 minutes of cook time, you will top it with the remaining 1 cup of cheese, and I just want y'all to look at how well this cooked up. It was so good, and the flavor was amazing. So I just served mine up with a little bit of chopped parsley, of course, and this was the perfect macaroni and cheese for any get-together. Now this one is definitely a favorite of mine because it's my macaroni salad. So in a large bowl, I've got 16 ounces of cooked elbow macaroni, or whatever noodles you want. I'm going to season that up with some salt and pepper, probably about a 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon each, and then 3 teaspoons of the ranch mix. Do not use tablespoons. I sprinkled that with about a half a cup of bacon bits, and then I chopped up 1 small red onion, 4 cucumbers, and 4 Roma tomatoes. I just chopped those up nicely, and then I just fold all of that together. That way everything can get well mixed before we add in our mayonnaise. Now sometimes I will put sour cream and a little bit of milk in that, depending on if I need to thin it out. I have my recipe that I have typed up. It'll be linked down below if you want to try this macaroni salad, because I can promise you it's going to be delicious. This one is definitely a family favorite, and of course you can't forget to add that cup of cheese to it. That just pushes it right over the top, y'all. Trust me on this. It'll become a family favorite. I've already had a lot of people telling me it's amazing. So why don't you do me a favor? If you're liking the video this far, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and become part of my YouTube family. And of course, Thanksgiving sides wouldn't be complete without some Crockpot cornbread dressing done the easy way. So I've got a 2.5 quart Crockpot right here, and we're just going to spray that with some nonstick spray, and I am using the Pepperidge Farm Cornbread Classic Stuffing Mix. I call it dressing, but I know there is a difference. I grew up on dressing, y'all. So into the crock pot, you pour that cornbread mixture along with 2 cups of chicken broth. And then I cooked up a small sweet onion with about 4 tablespoons of butter. And then I just pour that right on in there and mix everything together. That way all that cornbread dressing gets nice and moistened with that broth and butter. Then you smooth out the top, pop that lid on it, and this cooks on low for about 2 to 3 hours. And y'all, it was perfectly cooked. I couldn't have asked for anything better for a cornbread dressing. Let me tell you something. Definitely give this one a try. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Now moving right along, let's make some garlic butter and parsley potatoes. The easy way, of course. I've got these tricolor taters right here, just the little ones. And on the larger ones, I just cut them into quarters. That way they all cook the same as like a smaller one would. Once you have all of those chopped up, you will add in salt and pepper to taste. I don't want to give a measurement because you need to season it how you like it. But I guess I used about a half a teaspoon each. And then, of course, my Kinder's buttery garlic and herb, I definitely put about 1.5 teaspoons of that on these. And then y'all know me, I like to keep the vampires away with my garlic. So I put in about 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of this minced garlic. And then I just gave the taters a nice mix around before I put on 4 tablespoons of butter. And I just cut those pats into smaller slices and put it all over the top. And then I sprinkle it with some lightly dried parsley. And these go right into a 350-degree oven for about 30 to 40 minutes. And they come out so tender and so full of flavor. Oh, these are so good. You definitely need to give these a try because it is perfect with some turkey or some ham or any side dish, honestly. It pairs perfectly. Trust me on this one, and definitely give it a try. Also, make sure you do me a favor and hit that subscribe button because it is totally free, and I would absolutely love to have y'all as part of my YouTube family. And while you're at it, give me a like too. Now, let's get right into these Italian green beans. These have surely become a family favorite, and I will definitely be making them for Thanksgiving. 100%. So into a sprayed 9x13, I've got 1 12-ounce bag of frozen green beans. We're going to add in 1 can of Italian diced tomatoes that have been drained. Next, we're going to come in with 1 to 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. I just sprinkled mine right over the top of it. Then we're going to add in some Kinder's buttery garlic and herb seasoning, probably 1 teaspoon as well. I just season with my heart, y'all. Then I added in a half a teaspoon of salt and about 1 teaspoon of pepper. And of course, y'all know I've got to add in some garlic, so 1 tablespoon of garlic right over the top of it. I just made sure I sprinkled it all over those before adding on a half a cup of Parmesan cheese right to the top of it, y'all. Once that's on, we're going to add on some panko breadcrumbs to give it that nice crunch. You got to have the crunch with it, and trust me, it was so good, y'all. Y'all, if you're looking for a new green bean, this is it. Y'all need to give it a try. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. They were amazing. So good and so full of flavor. I had no leftovers when I made these, and this was the first time I made them. Everybody loved them. Now, last but not least, we're going to finish it off with some Crockpot collard greens, y'all. I usually make these for every holiday, but I just wanted them one night, so I just made me a big old crock pot full. So I've got 2 pounds of greens chopped, washed, and put into my crock pot, along with 2 smoked ham hocks. Then we're going to add in about it was right about a 1/4 cup of brown sugar total, right to the top of that. I just did it by tablespoons though. And then I added in a 1/2 cup of chopped up bacon that I had cooked. And then I added in 3 tablespoons of bacon grease, along with 1 to 2 teaspoons of salt and 1 to 2 teaspoons of pepper. Then I added in 1 quart of my home canned chicken bone broth and 3 tablespoons of vinegar. You could always add more vinegar if you want to later after they are done. Once you have that chicken broth and everything poured all over there, I like to put the greens over top of that bacon grease, and just to make sure, that it's all nestled down into them greens. Pop that lid on it and let that cook on low all day long. So at least 6 to 8 hours on low. If you wanted to do them on high for 4 hours. Halfway through, I just come in here and gave them a good old stir around to make sure that the tops got down to the bottom and so they could cook. And you could even see how the colors are changing because the greens are cooking. Y'all, these were so good. So that was, like I said, the halfway point. I popped that lid right back on them until it was time to pull out the ham hocks. Now you can see how dark green these are. And this was at about the 4-hour mark right here. I cooked mine on high this day because I was kind of running out of time, to be honest. You just pull those ham hocks on out, and then I gave the greens a good old stir around, and I did taste them to see if I needed any more brown sugar or any more vinegar, but these were absolutely perfect as is. I do put a splash of vinegar on my plate as I eat my greens though. Y'all, make sure you pull the meat off those ham hocks and put them right back into those greens. You won't be disappointed. All right, y'all, that is it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed these Thanksgiving sides and you'll give some of them a try for this year's Thanksgiving. If you are looking for some other meal ideas, check out these other 2 videos that are on your screen right now. And if you are in need of prayer, please let me know down below and I would be honored to pray for you all. But until next time, from my heart to yours, God bless. Bye.